Anthony, this case has sparked protests, has sparked a passionate discussion in this country. I want to play something that just happened moments ago. This is stunning. Whatever you think, this is stunning. I want our viewers to hear it. Commentator Ben Stein talked today to a channel called Newsmax TV. He was asked about Ferguson, and I want to play his own words.
I mean, the real problem with race in America is a very, very beaten down, pathetic, self-defeating black underclass that is just can't seem to get its way going in the way that blacks were able to before the scourge of drugs and the scourge of gangs.
What's your response to that, Anthony?
I think that his remark is shallow. I think is ill-informed. He's missing some very critical pieces to the race issue in this country. It goes way deeper than what he just described. It completely ignores a long-standing history of racial challenges that this country has faced over the decades. You cannot boil it down and make it just that simplistic. So I think it was kind of an irresponsible statement, in my opinion.
Irresponsible, and yet no doubt there will be many who will agree with it. And when you look at what you're looking at, which is a grand jury decision that's about to come down, does that concern you?
It does. What it does is it deepens the divide, if you ask me, in the racial relationships that are already strained and receiving heavy tension. It doesn't help to bring about any healing, and that is what this region, that's what our country, that's what this community needs right now, and not statements that are divisive and have a way of inflaming the racial tensions that already exist.
It is divisive, Paul. It is, though, something that Ben Stein is a conservative commentator. There will be many who will agree and say, you know what? Thank God someone finally said what I think. There will be people who say that. What he said, though, you know, as you just heard Anthony said, he believes shallow, ill-informed, irresponsible. Yet it was said.
Well, you know, he said it, but to say that it's a pathetic black underclass is way over the top. And I think, you know, I wouldn't paint conservatives all with the brush of that statement. I think that responsible people look at crime statistics and will say that we have situations like Ferguson, and we have more encounters between the police and African Americans because crime statistics are higher in African American neighborhoods, and so there are more police encounters. Now, there may be an element of racism that factors into that.
Or why the police choose to go after, you know, in black communities as opposed to other communities.
Well,
I
don't know that that's the case. I mean, I think that there's a strong argument that they're just going where the crime is, and if it was happening in white neighborhoods, they'd be in white neighborhoods. But because they're there, they're going to have encounters with respectable middle-class black citizens, and they're going to mistreat them. So I think that's where the racism develops.
And Anthony, the problem is there are those in the African American community who will hear what Ben Stein said and said, you know what, that's what people think of us, and it creates even more of a divide. Yeah,
it does. It does. It's not a feel-good statement. It demeans. It's an insulting remark. And when people are insulted and they feel offended by statements, it creates more combativeness between the parties or the individuals. And it just, like I said before, it deepens the divide. It doesn't help to heal, and I think we can universally agree on that. So
there was a tweet that also came out, and this is from a teacher in Texas was suspended. Officials say most likely going to be fired after this tweet regarding Ferguson. And it is, who the blank made you dumb duck blank crackers think I give a squat blank about your opinions, about my opinions regarding Ferguson. Kill yourselves. Paul, the question I have when you see this hateful kind of thing, how is violence going to be avoided when this grand jury comes down with a decision if it is not the decision of go ahead and charge?
Well, I really don't know, because one of the things that I think is the most disturbing is you've had 90 days of demonstrations in Ferguson, and essentially we don't know what the decision is. So, you know, we're using a procedure that's been in place since really the founding fathers put grand juries in the U.S. Constitution. So there's nothing to protest until a decision is made, whether it's a correct decision or an incorrect decision. You know, there's nothing to protest at this point.